I've been asked to show how to do a waste yarn wrap. This is a little technique that I use when I want to knit up stitches right along the very edge. I use it mostly on garter stitch. You can use it on stocking stitch, but I use it mostly on garter stitch situations. So all it involves is taking a piece of spare yarn, just a short length, and a fine yarn, not a thick yarn, and at the start of each row just laying that yarn over the working yarn and then just ignoring it. So work as usual. Until you get to the end of the row. At the end of the row, and before you start the new row, turn the work around, take the waste yarn and take it up and over. I always try and take my waste yarn in the same direction, from front to back or back to front, just be consistent. And then we can use those little spots where the yarn changes direction, which are identified by that piece of yarn, so that we can knit stitches into those little turning points. Waste yarn can also be used as a counting mechanism, and you'll see how it twists up the side. And often it's hard to tell how many wraps you've got. So if you tension it by holding both ends, you can now see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits of green yarn running over that piece of blue yarn. So we could potentially put 5 stitches in there. These aren't stitches, these little green wraps. They're just the point at which the yarn changes direction. And look on the other edge. And tension it. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wraps on this edge. And you can see where I might have used the opposite end of the yarn, because that wrap there angles slightly differently to the other ones, because when you start there really isn't a top end of your yarn. So now to use the waste yarn wraps, what we want to do is to knit into each of these turning points. These aren't stitches, these are just little pieces of main coloured yarn where it changes direction at the end of the row. So just tuck your needle tip into the wrap, and the wrap is main colour. And then gently bring that new stitch through the wrap, and you've positioned one stitch right at the extreme edge of the fabric. And just work your way down the edge, knitting up stitches. And this is how I make my Bosnian toe square for the wobbly socks and other toe-up socks that begin with a little square of garter stitch. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't waste a column of stitches. So if I turn it over, you can see that my knitted up stitches really don't make a bump on the other side. Once you've knitted into all the wraps, then the waste yarn can be removed. And we'll have a look at the back once again. And there is a very neat, attractive way of joining on stitches at right angles to the rows that you previously knitted. You can also use this to make a minimal bulk seam. In particular, if you're working with very heavy stitches, put wraps up both sides of the two fabrics to join and then seam through the wraps. Now let's have a look at this in a garter stitch entrelac situation. This is a piece of my garter stitch entrelac scarf, and you can see on that side we don't have any ridges of lost stitches where we've knitted up, and the same on the other side. So I really like the appearance of garter stitch entrelac. It's doesn't have that ripply effect that regular entrelac has, and using waste yarn allows you not really to have a right or a wrong side, so both sides are equally attractive.